Mic test, there we go. Hey guys, sorry we're a bit late getting started here. So welcome to the Ordinals live debate. It's going to be a big one today, by the way. And before anyone asks, the reason why I'm wearing this white jacket is, let's be honest, Ordinals are inscriptions. So throughout this, whoever comes up on stage is going to be signing the jacket. And then after the 2 days, this jacket is going to be everyone's signature on it. So if you see me today, my name's Jay. I'm a community manager with BEINCrypto. So I'll be moderating this event. And we've got some great speakers. You guys won't believe this. We've actually got 3 Franks on stage, right? So first of all, Frank. We got Frank at the end. I just wanted everyone to give you a short bio and tell you who they are. So Frank, if you want to jump off.
Yes. Good morning. I hope did you sleep well after the parties. I'm Frank, engineer. I co-founded OpenGem with my brother, and we audit smart contracts on Ethereum. NFTs, smart contract, and we edit the persistency and smart contract lock, etc. Yeah.
So hi everyone, my name is 0xgrug. So basically, I was a long-term Bitcoin and Ethereum intendant and observer, and since early February, I got hooked on Ordinals pretty early on. So I made a 180-degree turn and went back into building on top of Bitcoin, basically.
Hello, I'm Far. I'm an artist in the space. I have been in Ordinals since, very at the beginning. We created a project called Taprootwizards. You have seen.
And yeah, last Frank. Most people know me as Frank NFT. I'm mostly notorious for bringing the V1 CryptoPunks back to life. And yeah, I'm co-founder of Hyperlabs, who is basically building on Ethereum, smart contracts, things like that.
Perfect, thanks Frank. And you guys won't believe it, we actually have a live Ordinals on stage today. So before we go into this, I'm sure everyone's well versed with Ordinals, but we would like to, if you could just give us a little breakdown, Frank, and please maybe share your Ordinals, and then we'll get straight into the live debate.
Yeah, sure. I actually did bring an Ordinal. I did bring 2, but the other one is to make fun later on. So I got this as a gift from Adam McBride, who is one of the NFT archaeologists. It's a SAT card. I have no clue how it looks like. I don't know how to get the Ordinal off, so I have to talk. But it's pretty cool that yeah, you can put art on a SAT, and then you can put a SAT on a card, and you can actually give it to somebody, and they can take it home. I think that's actually pretty cool.
Exactly, it's a special concept. So before we jump into this, I don't know if you guys have all seen how these debates work, but we bring someone from the stage. That is your seat right there. So you're going to be jumping up, you're going to be joining the conversation live, and please jump onto the Discord server, guys. What you can do is you can join the debate, you can ask some questions. We've got 6 amazing questions lined up. So let's get started straight away. So first of all, are Ordinals here to stay? And the way that this is going to work, we want to say yes, we want to say no. We also want the person that's coming up on stage to either agree or disagree. And by the end, let's be honest, we're all going to agree to disagree. But let's get started. So are Ordinals here to stay?
Well, we can't put them away. They're there now, so they're definitely going to stay. But I think that's not really the question. I think the question is, are we going to do something with it? And yeah, my answer is no. No. They're cool. We can actually, indeed, we can put some data on a SAT. You can put there whatever you want. We're being fancy now. We're putting JSON in there now. But there are no smart contracts. So it's very hard to build things around that. You have to explore the whole blockchain to see what's happening. And it's a little bit like we found some pliers, and we have a nail, and I'm hitting that nail with my pliers to get that nail in the board. Use a hammer. Ethereum is a hammer.
Yeah, I think the comparisons stand out, and basically, I remember early on we were on Discord servers and basically exchanging Ordinals through peer-to-peer, peer-to-peer, and so it was the images of the cloud you want to push into hardwood is well found, but in the same time there were a kind of interest from some players to get those hard artifacts. So I'd say If you want to do a 10K monkey PFP collection, maybe it doesn't have any sense to make it on Ordinals on top of Bitcoin, but for fine arts, like a renowned artist like Banksy who want to do a piece of art, it make pretty much sense for me. Oh,
yeah. You know, I like the experimentation. I like the test and learn concept. So I'm okay with that. But it's very funny because when I heard, when I hear maximalist Bitcoiners, I always listen like, we need to do what Satoshi says. But Satoshi doesn't say that. And now a lot of maximalists said ordinals are awesome. So it's pretty funny. But yeah, I like it. Let's try and let's see the market behavior about that. So for the persistency, it's very, very interesting. We will talk about that because at OpenGem we are working on that. We are fighting for persistency. So yes, I think it's a good thing. Let's try and let the market decide what happens. I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think if you ask me right now, I would say they shouldn't stay because I have a lot of ordinals, so they will be increasing value. But no, but on a serious note, I think, I mean, this is not the question right now to stay. I guess the question is how to make, you know, there needs to be like a lot of improvement. Right now it's pretty expensive to inscribe and it's very difficult. So I guess we need to wait. There's a lot of things going on building right now. But I guess we need a little bit more infrastructure so everyone can use it more. But I think it's a very interesting because when we were inscribing at the beginning, we were paying like a 1 sat, 2 sats per inscription. Now the lowest is like a 20 sats, so it will cost like 10 times at least more. So it's pretty expensive. I think, yeah, I think it's going to be very interesting how it's going to evolve. Definitely, it's not like what Crow was saying, like you're going to go and inscribe like a 10,000 project, because you need to, basically you need to pay a lot to inscribe that. So yeah, it will be very interesting. I think there is limitations because it's 400 kilobytes. You want to do more, you need to talk to a miner, and it's going to be expensive. So I think Ordinals is going to find their own language, and that's pretty interesting. But yeah, I think we have been only 6 months since kind of like explode. So let's see where it takes, but definitely here to stay.
I couldn't agree more. I think, you know, the growth is there. Let's just see how sustainable it will be in the long run. And this is the first person coming on stage. The first person, I know it's always a bit scary, but they're going to get a free BEINCrypto hat and they get to sign my jacket. So who wants to join the conversation? Jump in, come up on stage and let us know a little bit about what you think about Ordinals. Any takers? Free hat? Must be someone here that wants to join the conversation. Everyone's maybe a bit hungover from last night. Yes, you were just telling me about the project earlier. You want to jump on stage? Come on. Good man. Woo! So what to do is jump over here. I'll get you in. Just jump over and use this mic, and then on the way back out, pass it. Just quickly introduce yourself as well.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Jose. I'm a former fintech founder, now trying to get into the ordinal space because I think there's a huge potential. And yeah, just wanted to.
Yeah, well, that's exciting. So what we want to do is just welcome you in and see how you feel about the space. You know, you told me a little bit about your thoughts before the event, but what we'd like to do is just see the future and, you know, our here needs to stay. And everyone's getting cards passed around now. So what we want to do is put your card up to resemble the color, green obviously being yes, and then red being no. So how do you feel about the growth of Ordinals and you know, especially in terms of your industry in fintech, moving forward into the Ordinal space? Is it something that you believe in and you see a future in?
Yeah, so I think Ordinals has seen massive growth. I think the volume has surpassed ETH. I don't know if that's true in terms of the NFT trading. It's a pretty democratic community, I think. You see a lot of people from other projects migrating to Ordinals, and it's like a big party. There's no like tribalism. Everyone, because it's like the mother blockchain, and yeah, it's pretty fun to watch. And the tech that is being built is pretty interesting. I think it will be possible to have roll-ups one day, maybe on I don't know what you guys think, to be able to inscribe much cheaper, and yeah, I'm pretty bullish.
Couldn't agree more. So that's 5 bulls on stage. Looks like most people are in agreement here. So thank you so much for jumping in. I know the first one's always a little bit nervous, but can you sign my jacket, please? Sign my jacket. Do it. And just be careful getting off stage. There's no health and safety here, so you won't be getting reimbursed. It's a big signature.
Okay.
Wow. Thank you so much, my friend. Perfect. I'll hand that one to you. All right, moving swiftly on to the next question, guys. And as it goes on, I really hope you guys, let's have fun here, and please get involved with the conversation. There's also an opportunity to come up on stage, and sit next to these, KOLs, key opinion leaders in the space, and network. And I think everyone's had a great time with the event so far. So really, that's what about is, learning from each other. So moving into the next question, bear with me. I could not remember them all off by heart. This is an interesting one because I do believe that there is a lot of persistency with ordinals in the sense that they're directly on Satoshi's on chain. So are ordinals the most persistent NFTs? And I will come first to you, Frank.
Yeah, well, I'll start out with a shout out for that one. We can actually do on-chain on Ethereum too. And I did bring Excel, who's here in the audience, who's writing her master thesis on doing on-chain art. And she did, give me the number, Excel, 99 something, 0.95 reduction in gas cost in putting art on-chain on Ethereum. So we can do it on Ethereum too. Of course, yeah. We have this field in the SAT where we can put data on, and it is very persistent. It is like that by design. But putting these very large files there, it has a very big impact on the network. So coming back to my previous point, basically, do we really need to do this? And for that one, I did bring my second ordinal, which is a physical ordinal. And first guy or girl that buys me a beer after the talk will actually get this one. So a physical piece of art by me, a physical ordinal. Yeah, camera won't be able to see it. I'll give it to you. So what did I do? Well, what is an ordinal? An ordinal, you take the little possible piece of Bitcoin and you put some data on it. So what did I do? I took the most little piece of euro, which is a 1 cent coin. And I used my Dremel tool, I got the king off, and then I used the punch, and I punched my punk in there. Because that is, we already said, a lot of collections are now migrating to Bitcoin. So we have, of course, we have the CryptoPunks, and the V1s, which are the originals. Sorry, guys, I will always have to shield those. But we also have the Solana punks, and we have the Polygon punks, and we now have the Ordinal punks, and we have the Bitcoin punks. And everybody is moving there because it's so persistent. But as said, Dr. Excel, we can do this on Ethereum too.
Well, I think I know who we're bringing on stage right now. Are you ready? You ready? Come on. So before you jump in, sign my jacket first. Woo! Round of applause, everybody. Wherever you want to sign in the back.
Well, when we came here, I also had her with me when we went to Tallinn, where I arranged that she could speak. When we came here, I said, yeah, this is too late. I can't get you on stage anymore. Well, so you're on stage.
Round of applause, guys. Come on.
Yeah, so it is possible to put images on-chain, NFTs on-chain on Ethereum. You just have to code it. There are example contracts to do that. It's not that difficult, and now there is a way to do it cheap. So I think we should do it with Ethereum and not with Bitcoin, because it's made for it.
I like that. You're throwing it in there.
How much is it? Like it's 10 times, 20 times more expensive?
99.95% cheaper than it was in the beginning.
And it's still 20 times more expensive than in Bitcoin?
I don't know the difference about that, but I can check it out. But I don't think so. It's quite cheap now.
Yeah, and that's interesting. The fact the market was pricing the on-chain block space on Bitcoin very low compared to what it was on Ethereum, and so now the activity on Bitcoin is a little bit higher. You can compare the fees from the Bitcoin blockchain and the block space, and you can compare it from the block space on Ethereum too. So you can now make an educated comparison between the two. So it's kind of interesting to see the market pricing on a right way the Bitcoin block space.
And how do you feel on that, Frank? Sorry about the sharing of mics, guys.
Yeah. It's very interesting because when we talk about art or NFT, we can talk about image, video, but also just code. I saw a lot of smart contracts, very complex, with a lot of functions like owners can trigger to create the real art behind the NFT. Actually, a smart contract is a piece of art, and I very agree with you. Like we can upload files on Ethereum. There is a lot of methods for this, but there is also code, and I think we can push the limit of the artistic shows just by coding complex financial operation, artistic operation inside the smart contract. And I think Ethereum is designed for this, and it can be very interesting for artists or new age artists to create a new age art, piece of art. And yes, so Bitcoin actually is very awesome for basic usage like cryptocurrency actually, the Bitcoin, but for the art, it can be very basic for just an image, a video, a small image, a small video. But if you want to push the limit for this, I think Ethereum is better for this. So just two use cases, and again, basic for Bitcoin and sophistication, something very new on Ethereum or other EVM blockchain.
Great, thanks for sharing, and thank you so much for joining us on
Thank
stage.
you.
Round of applause, guys. Right, so yeah, Max and I worked on these questions together, and this one's going to be an interesting one. We're going to get some mixed views, I'm sure. But the next question is, will ordinals kill Bitcoin? Oh, that's a funny one if you ask me. But yeah, jump in, Frank.
Well, will it kill Bitcoin? No, but Bitcoin is here to stay. It won't kill it, but we are seeing negative effects. And we had a few times already that the chain was congested, and of course, Bitcoin was made to be a coin. It was made as a store of value, and yeah, people want to do transactions with it, and yeah, these ordinals, they're not helping. But will it kill Bitcoin? No, I don't think so.
Very well said there, Frank. And how do you feel about that?
I think Bitcoin was killed. It was done for many years. So now Ordinals is bringing more. The fees are going up, so it's more secure. And also it's bringing up developing to Bitcoin. Before, I don't think the idea for transacting money for Bitcoin is kind of I don't know. I mean, people are complaining about now people in El Salvador are not going to be able to pay coffee with Bitcoin. That's ridiculous. But now we can see in the last 3 months or 6 months, there's a lot of development for trying to scale Bitcoin. The network is super secure. Even people this. The Michael Saylor, he was saying oh no, this is good, right? Because the network is more secure, so all his Bitcoins are more secure. So I think it's more alive than ever. And yeah, and I don't think the people that think they're gonna kill Bitcoin, they're a part of another period of Bitcoin that I think they're gonna become irrelevant. I mean, they are already irrelevant. So.
Perfect. And this is the part where we bring someone up on stage. So who would like to come in and join in the conversation? Someone must want to shine this shiny white jacket of mine. Come on. He's coming up. There we go. Oh, I saw. First of all, what a gentleman walking in with my beer. For me, I wasn't expecting that. Breakfast beers, yeah. Please introduce yourself. Yeah, exactly. Introduce yourself, tell us what you do, and then jump in on the conversation.
Yeah, hi, I'm Fabian. I'm actually a podcaster and a consultant, so I help companies dive into Web3 or like the other way around, building products that make sense. So I'm really curious about Ordinals. So I've heard it first and interviewed people about it, and everyone was like, or like the people I interviewed with, they were like, oh yeah, that's the next big thing. And I was like, so that's interesting. I'm on the same page, more or less, that I really don't understand why we need it, but apparently there is something to it, right? I mean, for NFTs, probably we have other blockchains that have smart contracts that are better suited, but I mean, like there is a lot of attention there. I think there's also, probably they don't kill Bitcoin, but the more interesting question is probably, will they make Bitcoin more secure? Will they make it better because now more maybe developers are coming in or coming back and it's shiny and new again? And what will come out of it? And I don't have an answer actually, so that's why I'm here, and thank you for the insights already. It's really interesting, and yeah, looking forward to what happens next.
Thank you for sharing, Fabian. Like you said, I think the real thing is that the congestion it may cause on chain, you know. So I'd love to hear your thoughts, Greg, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, so for me, Ordinals is an old debate cycling again. So for me, the underlying question is, do the users want Bitcoin to be more than a store of value and a medium of exchange? So we've been cycling through those questions years ago, through the debate around the size of the blocks, and basically this debate is coming over again on the table, and for me it seems like the users and even some part of the maxis, they are more open for the experimentation this time than on the previous cycles. So for me, Ordinal is a great thing because it puts pressure onto the block space, and it allows developers, people that are developing on top of Bitcoin, like on layer. I'm thinking about Lightning, for example. Lightning wasn't ready to be in a high environment fees. So basically, by provoking this kind of immune reaction from the Bitcoin ecosystem, we are like making devs and people interested to keep Bitcoin as our base currency more I'd say more willing to go forward and to carry on the development on Bitcoin. So it's a great thing. I like the image of the immune reaction on the Bitcoin block space, because if you take a short time frame, it's a bit annoying for users, because they like to make a settlement of their Bitcoin transaction, but you got other people willing to settle images or transfer of ownership of images using the Bitcoin block space. So it's a new usage. And you, as a miner, you are mostly interested in your revenues. So I reckon if you take every actors of the ecosystem, all their incentives are aligned to allow this experimentation. So I'm glad.
Thanks for sharing, Greg.
I wanted to say something about comparing Ethereum with Bitcoin from the artist perspective. Like I think every chain has like a pro and cons, and Ethereum, I really love Ethereum, but in terms of like usability, there is a mysticism around Bitcoin and Ordinals, but it's way simpler than Ethereum. From an artist perspective, in Ethereum, you need to, I mean, there has been a lot of user experience built, so it's super easy for the artist. You can upload, you basically, to mint an artwork, you go to a website, any of the sites that you do, like you put your image, they put it somewhere in IPFS, and then they give you like all these steps to do a smart contract, etc. So we all kind of like learn about it. But in Bitcoin, it's way easier. It's just like upload a file, and then you have it, and you send it. So that means like it's funny because we as an artist and the NFT space, we learn the hard way, but this is way simpler, And then that means also like there's gonna be, scammers are gonna be everywhere. They're gonna learn, but it's harder, I guess, to scam through Bitcoin because there's not smart contracts and all of that. It's way simpler. So I think the mysticism is just like I guess it's everything with technology, but it should be. I think once we have like a better UIs, and it's gonna be super simple, and people are gonna be using it more.
Yeah, and just jumping on the Discord there as well, Marchin Boy has mentioned, let's make Bitcoin fun again. And I think, let's be honest, it is giving it, reigniting it, and it's giving it something, something to talk about. So how do you feel about that, Frank?
I love the Marchand Boy because it was Bitcoin need. It's more fun, and actually, if Ordinals can kill Bitcoin, I don't know because I'm not a Bitcoiner. I'm not good at it, but I like the idea that Bitcoin could kill Ordinals. I think it's better in this way. But Bitcoin was in need of fun, and I think this is a good time for this. So yes, let's try it. And I like what you say, that it's very easy. Like just upload the files, even if on Ethereum it's possible, but more complicated. So yes, I think Bitcoin can kill Ordinals.
Yeah, let's look at it like that. I agree. And thank you, Fabian, for joining us on stage. Big round of applause for Fabian, guys. Perfect. So we're jumping into the next question, and I really like this one because it's going to, we got some Bitcoin maximalists on stage. We got people there slightly interested, shall we say? So does Bitcoin need updating? Do you think it needs updating? Taking all these things into account,
Does Bitcoin need updating? I think every chain needs updating. It's we're doing it on Ethereum also, and we're doing it on Bitcoin too. Chains evolve, the technology evolves. So yes, and will people decide that we will update in favor of Ordinals and so on? Yeah, I don't have the answer for that, but there's definitely room for improvement there. So yes, we will definitely upgrade Bitcoin.
Of course.
And all the other chains too.
Always.
Yeah, the thing with Bitcoin is like decentralized, so it's not like there is somebody own it, even though there is people claiming that they own it and they decide like what should be Bitcoin or not, but at the end of the day, it's a consensus. So I think so, like in the future, when you get rid of all of these ideas when someone is saying here like let's make Bitcoin fun again, it goes along with this, like with the making a update there or not. Because I think these people, they think they are very conservative, they're like a super out of touch. They hate NFTs, they hate the culture, and they say like, no, this needs to be as it is. But I think the moment that Bitcoin is becoming like a more, it has other uses, there's gonna be needs for it, so we shall see, yeah.
Perfect. And who from the audience would like to join us on stage for this next segment? Someone? Perfect, thank you. What was your name?
Laurent.
Oh. I love that. It's a big tag. Thank you.
Yes, I will be a little bit off topic, but there is something I definitely want to say to everybody in the room. Everybody in the room, if you don't know it, Bitcoin was the first chain to host a NFT, and it was in block 138725. I think it was in July 2011. And it was the image of Len Sassaman, which is a potential Satoshi. So I think the idea that Ordinals are here, it's really interesting because potentially it's a tribute to Satoshi himself. And potentially Satoshi has allowed that, and potentially Satoshi is okay that as the network is free, then everybody is able to use it. And obviously, Ordinals ask a question which is a question of scaling. But if it was not Ordinals, it would have been potentially another use case. So this is a debate that would have taken place anyway in the future. So I think Ordinals are a good thing because they ask this question right away, and they ask a very sound question as to the scaling of chains. And you mentioned the fact that potentially there would be, or maybe it was you, layer 2s or things like that. We don't know, but I think this is really, really positive that Ordinals are here for this very question, which is a debate on scaling.
Which is true. Like people are saying, like the fees are going up. It's like maybe because someone is using Bitcoin. Like before they were not using it, essentially, right? Now it's like people are where they issue like a ridiculous BRC20s that are probably super stupid. But the network collapse is like it shows it needs to be, scalability isn't needed, right? So they're gonna do it. So what happened before is like people weren't using Bitcoin. That's the reality, right? The block space was empty. No.
Yeah, so I think we have a use case. People use it. Actually, I did a collection and I sold no Ordinal at all, because I don't know where the collectors are. Collectors have issues, creating their own wallets and so on, so you have a lot of problems. But I'm not sure it's a very negative thing. Of course, it hurts the network right now, but it's for the better in the future, in my view.
I think that is still one of the bigger problems of Ordinals. That they're very fragile, and I minted my BTC punks because I have my crypto punk. I said, okay, but the ones that I have, I'm going to claim the BTC ones too. And basically, it wasn't that easy. Of course, we're talking a few months back now. We're really, it was basically a scary operation. Yeah, and that definitely has to improve if you want to have collectors coming in. I now have those BTC punks. They sit in my wallet. I had to create several addresses for it. And yeah, I'm basically afraid to even transfer them because it might be, let's say I have this $69 million Beeple sitting on a SAT, and I want to transfer it to Frank here, and it gets paid as gas. It can happen. And yeah, that's really still a very big problem in Ordinals, I think, for the collectors, but also for the creators. Like, yeah, it's simple to upload a file, but then to travel it around, and they're really, really fragile.
And you have the other way around, because, for example, I participated the lousy Yuga Labs auction, and they returned back my Bitcoin in my Ordinal wallet. So now I have to do whatever God knows to get my Bitcoin back. So okay, well, thanks for your time, guys.
Do you want to share your thoughts?
So yeah, you ask an interesting question about does we need Bitcoin to evolve again? And truth is, I can answer by yes and no, basically, because Bitcoin wouldn't evolve today. We wouldn't mind. It would be a finished product as it is today. We could use it as it is, and we wouldn't dare. So also every upgrade on Bitcoin is an opt-in, so you don't really need to implement the updates on your side. If you're a miner, you can always stay on your own version of Bitcoin. So in a way, I'd say it's okay for Bitcoin to be this rock chain, this slow thing, and not evolve very often. But people are willing to experiment new layers on top of Bitcoin. So it will be like an onion in my mind. So Ordinals, for example, is a first example of a layer between a real second layer, like we are thinking about layers when we say layer, we are thinking about EVM layers. So Ordinals is a kind of chain layer, I'd say, where the consensus is found off-chain, but and it's interesting with Ordinals because it got adopted right away from the inception, basically. So it didn't have a Bitcoin implementation proposal, or but the consensus was fine between a specific UTXO and some data post on chain. So, and that's the trick of Ordinals, to make a symbolic link between an UTXO and data that has been posted on a specific block in the past. So you have to keep in mind that for the Bitcoin protocol itself, there is no ownership over the data, but Ordinals find a nice trick, a nice hack to make a symbolic link between the two, and that's something very crazy. And for me, it can be considered as a hack. And but since you get this thing adopt, it's not anymore a hack; it's a functionality.
Actually, I just will follow the community decision. So I don't know if it should be updated or it shouldn't. But just let the node decide, the community decide, and I think my opinion will be the opinion of the community. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's some great questions coming on the server as well. So what we're going to try and do is get through the last two questions, and then try and answer some of the questions off the Discord server. So coming to the next one, this is an interesting one. So do you think the stable Ordinals, stable coins based on Ordinals is something we can look forward to in the future?
I think it's a pretty interesting question. And I'm an engineer, and I'm thinking now, how the fuck can we do this? Because you need a contract. You will need a mechanism to make your coin stable. You need that pegging, and we can't put code on Bitcoin. We don't have an EVM, so I don't see the solution. So can't really answer. I don't see the solution on how to do a stable coin now, as a sort of an ordinal or whatever on Bitcoin. I don't see it. Maybe Frank, you're also an engineer. Maybe you have an idea.
Stablecoin is a centralized thing, right? Like this is, there is a bank, or this. Actually, I don't think there is a place of stablecoins on Bitcoin. Bitcoin stay a Bitcoin. So my answer is no for this. Stablecoins is like a tool for Web2 practices to go to the Web3, but it's very temporary tools, in my opinion. You know. A Bitcoin will stay a Bitcoin, an Ether will stay an Ether forever, you know.
I reckon if someone is able to ask the question, it will be tried somehow someday. So it might be very early to think about doing synthetic assets, or like you said, you don't have on the main layer the possibility of doing a smart contract, but Bitcoin, even if it's not Turing complete, it's capable of doing some kind of script, even if those are pretty limited. So I'd say if those kind of experiment would take place, it would mainly take place on a second layer, and far later in the future. Not today, not on Ordinals, and no, is no way our fees gonna go to the high roof, and that's not something we want.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on that one. So the last question when it comes to Ordinals, and then what we'll do is I'd like to get the people who'd asked the questions to jump on stage. So I'm going to ask on, is it Lambi first? But before we get there, This is one that I really want. I think we're all in alignment on most of these panel questions. Will ordinals change the crypto landscape for the better or for the worse?
Yeah, well, we will have to define then what is for the better. It's a very interesting question, and people in the crypto space they always have a very short memory. You know, we all have the memory span of a goldfish. You know, we jump on something. We're jumping now on shitcoins at the moment. You know, before that it was ordinals, and yeah, a lot of these things they make people think. And I think that is already something that is for the good. The fact that you're giving a focus to something, that the fact that we're talking now here about ordinals, whatever the outcome is, we were busy with it and we were getting smarter from that. And I think that is already a good outcome.
No, I think it's very positive. You have been around in the, I mean, for the people that we have been around in the ordinals, it's like a 24/7. I mean, I was yesterday until 3 a.m. talking to people. It's just very vivid right now. Outside of this, it's like everything is doom. I mean, I don't know, because I'm having focus on ordinals, but I think it's very positive. The community seems like community is very humble, very. It's very nice. There's not yet. I think it's very healthy. Everything. So it's given where we are in crypto, I think, or in the situation, which is, I mean, unfortunately, in this space, we depend on the market, which just sucks. So everyone talks about, nobody talks, when you go buy a car or something, nobody talks, oh, it's the bear market, I'm not gonna sell you a car or something, right? And now in crypto, you're an artist, oh, it's a bear market. It's what the hell? I never spoke about bear market, I'm an artist, right? So it's a good thing that this is happening during this time. And yeah, I think it's all positive.
I think the worst thing that can happen on the Web3 space is there is no activity, no tries, so this is very, very good that it let people think, it let people be against people, and I think adversity is a very good thing for innovations. So yes, it's a very good thing to have ordinals on the Web3 space. I believe it. So if we need to answer the question, is it good for the future? We don't know, and we won't know until it happens. So just adversity is okay, and the differences between technology and the diversity of technology in the Web3 space is always a good thing for the Web3, definitely. So yeah.
Yeah, I agree with the Franks out there. It's even if ordinals were fade and we would have done this for nothing, and people would not exchange ordinals anymore, we would have had a great time, and it would have made us thought about interesting topics. So it's not time we have been losing.
Perfect. And who is coming up to join the conversation on this one about ordinals changing the landscape of crypto? Come on, someone wants to sign this jacket. One more person? Anyone? No? I'm going to pick someone if no one volunteers himself. Yes, there we go. Round of applause, guys. Don't worry about it. You can redo it later. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Just be careful getting on stage. Oh yeah. Oh, there we go.
Easy way. Not like I've been in any rings before. I have a question for the two engineers, Frank and Francois. Frank, with what's going on with ordinals and how we're talking about ETH and ordinals and the connection of those smart contracts, where do you see the importance of bridges in this context? Because you may not necessarily, I mean, they could happily work together potentially if we're able to bridge them.
Yeah, but we are able to bridge it. It happened on day one of ordinals, and day one of ordinals is not the ordinals that we know now. the day one of Ordinals. Those are the puny codes and the rare peppies and those. And
Correct.
what are you doing? We want to trade them, and as I always said, these Ordinals, they scare me because they're so fragile to trade. We're putting them in emblem vaults. That's what we're doing. And so they're all coming back to Ethereum, and we're trading our puny codes and our rare peppies around on Ethereum.
So basically, what I'm hearing you say is that the fact that your artwork is floating back and forth, it's quite delicate because it's a value.
Yeah, I found it really hilarious. I minted my BTC punks, and yeah, I think the day after, people were saying, okay, let's put them in a vault, and they were coming back to Ethereum. I didn't do it with my two; they're just sitting there still in that wallet, but. I found it hilarious, like, wow, we found the next big thing. We have Ordinals now. Let's emblem vault them and bring them to Ethereum. It's hilarious.
Francois, what do you think about that?
Actually, I don't really like the idea of working with multi-blockchains for the same concept. So I prefer the idea of trying to create a blockchain for a use case, a specific use case, you know, and not our own use case that use multiple blockchains. So no, I think the idea of artistic creations, we need a blockchain for this. Cryptocurrency, we need a blockchain for this. It's in my opinion. I like this idea of clean practice for tech, you know, with use cases.
The true engineer has spoken.
Yes.
Thank you.
So it's interesting because I did a little experiment with my wizard friends, and we did the same principle as wrapped Bitcoin, but we did it on the opposite way actually. So it's a custodial service, but we have multi-sig on Bitcoin and also multi-sig on Ethereum. So if you send us Ethereum, we are able to send you a synthetic Ethereum on top of a BRC20 token supply. So it's kind of clunky because there is an argument to be made where at the point where you start making custody on top of Bitcoin, you are missing a piece of the equation basically. And I hear this argument, but also for me the trust between parties has been eliminated on Bitcoin. So you don't need to trust me to send money, and we can settle payment between themselves. But I reckon later in the future, maybe companies, public companies, or maybe private companies will start using Bitcoin to settle maybe things between themselves. So it will be an interesting time.
I think Michael Saylor was actually talking about that. He was saying about how inheritance would inevitably be the possibility of an ordinal, that's why he was bullish on it, because he sees the use case, as Francois was saying, the use case of a valid use case for the future that has value, whether it's an inheritance, whether it's a large property. That's very interesting to see those tangible use cases be put on Bitcoin, because those are a lot more value. The part that was interesting, not to shill, but I do know of representing a project that actually just put the first SPG on Ordinals of just a game. So it's very interesting to see these use cases come up, but I do believe they have to be compartmentalized by the use case, or else it could get sticky, especially now with SEC and all that's happening in the United States.
Yeah, and that's why, for example, this experiment over fungible token supply on top of Ordinals, I think it's somehow a squatting of a protocol, and in the future, if this kind of protocolar instructions that are settled through Bitcoins, they'll need their own layer of interpretability, and so if you have a public methodology in order to execute protocolar instructions, you can then use the Bitcoin block space to settle them. So it's it's an interesting field of research, and I reckon a lot of people will experiment on it.
Merci beaucoup. Thank you, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Amy.
Perfect, and we've got a little bit of time for a question that's Wavin Good has asked. I'm guessing that's Gavin Wood. It is. If you, and I know we're going to be split on this one actually, if you want to deploy your new NFT PFP collection, would you prefer to do it on Ethereum or on Bitcoin?
Do I really need to answer that? a PFP collection, so we're talking like several thousand images. One, as a founder, if let's say I'm going to mint them myself because I want to sell them, it will cost me a fortune to do that. So I have to put in a lot of money to actually do that. The money will eventually flow back if people buy them, but you have to. And I did over 40 collections, something like that. Not as a founder, as a freelance developer. So I made their contract, I managed their IPFS for them, stuff like that. No, it's really a PFP collection. No, it just has no good thing. I get it for the one-on-ones and stuff like that. That is perfect. Say he will make me a super duper artwork and we'll put it on Bitcoin, and I get the point there. But putting a 10K collection on Bitcoin, it's okay. It was fun. We did BTC punks. We did all kinds of things, but that was just fun. I wouldn't do it. No.
Sorry to shoot down there, Gavin, but any other thoughts there, gents? I think we just got a couple of minutes left. Yeah, here.
I fully agree with what you said, but at the same time, a PFP collection might be images that are very, very low size, whereas a one-on-one, actually, if it's a really good creation, potentially it's really, really heavy, and therefore will cost a fortune too. So.
Yeah, definitely. You're paying for storage. Yeah? If I look again, I'm using them a lot, the BTC punks, but a punk is just 24 by 24 pixels. So when we minted them, that was like a few K of bytes. No, not even bytes, not even a K. So indeed, that is. But we did pay like 20 euros. I minted 4, and so. Can you imagine minting 10K? It will cost a fortune. And as I said, I did a lot of these projects. And I lost my thread there, but I did a lot of these projects. And many of these founders, they're not rich when they start. If they're lucky, they're rich when they end. But when they start, usually they can't even afford to pay me. So I just don't see them doing that.
But is that a bad thing? Because I think right now that's a very interesting question. Is even though like we are thinking about the title of the thing is like if Ordinals here to stay, but you're about to launch a project, it's not so obvious like where you're gonna do it. So it's pretty interesting. If you have to pay, but for a collector also like it's kind of good. Also, they say the team behind it, like they did an investment. And, I think it shows some like a trust in it.
Yeah, I get that point. I started with Irish. She's out of the room now. I started with Irish on Foundation when it was still quite hot and gas was quite high. We had to pay like $200 to upload our artwork to Foundation at those days, which I can get for a lot of artists can be
but that's not
an investment.
But that's not on chain.
And it's not even on chain. No, that was just to mint it on.
Because with the thing with Bitcoin, yes, they're gonna pay a lot of money, but they're gonna be like a digital artifacts that are on chain. That's pretty different than selling you a dream of something. I'm not saying that it's bad not being on chain, but when you have a digital artifact on chain, like it has already value. Somebody is gonna value, it doesn't, regardless what it is, what it looks like, right? This is what has happened.
Yeah, definitely. That's why I say I get it for a one-of-one. You make a picture or you make a painting or something, and you put that on that Bitcoin on-chain. I get it for that, but I don't get it for a PFP collection. Also, usually these PFP collections, you want to, I see it.
Squabbles have
you want,
started, guys.
you want to give some sort of utility. You want to make things token gated. You want to, and all that is just way easier to do on Ethereum.
Exactly. So this is why what we're gonna see on Bitcoin. I mean, right now we don't see nobody's saying like, oh, we are launching X, Y, Z because everyone is afraid of being front run, which is like a very interesting situation, right? But I think you're gonna see over the course of the next 3 months, you'll be 3 or 4 months, okay, you'll be surprised because there's gonna be like a super high quality project that they're gonna spend like a lot of money to do it. Because actually, I mean, right now in the NFT space, we have enough of projects that they didn't spend that much and then everything went down so bad. And I think maybe that meta is kind of like over, right? So I think with Bitcoin it's interesting, like so what you were saying exactly, like there is less risk, it's more safe to collect on Bitcoin, is what you're saying, basically.
Yes.
Sorry to cut it there, guys, but honestly, this is what we love. This is what we're here for. I want a big round of applause for the speakers, please, guys. A big round of applause for all of you. And let's carry this conversation on through there, yeah? Thank you, guys.